Hi, it's Jane. Guess what? Crochet and knitting can burn calories? What? Seriously? Yep, it can. As always, we have to start with the medical disclaimer, because people will sue you left and right for no silly reason. Here is the medical reason, the medical disclaimer. As always, check with your physician before starting any exercise program. Information here is my personal research into different health topics, not to be considered medical advice. I am a retired RN. That is the extent of my medical knowledge. However, you should always check with your own personal physicians. Let's discuss it. Yes, your favorite hobby, craft, and pastime might actually help you burn off some calories. How amazing does that sound? Why, that sounds like the perfect solution to me. We burn calories quite easily. While it might not be enough to lose weight, but then again, depends on if you're a marathon crocheter or knitter. It does go towards an overall goal of keeping the extra weight away. Did you know that you burn around 61 calories just lying down for an hour? Or 88 calories while reading a book or a newspaper? Even sitting up and reading this article will burn almost 68 calories. So it makes sense that doing a little more activity, like knitting or crocheting, will help you burn off more calories. It is important to note that, though, that the number of calories burnt doing different activities will depend on your age, weight, and heart rate. You don't have to feel guilty about lounging on the couch with a new knitting or crocheting project. It is helping to keep your calorie count down. What is NEAT? NEAT. It is non-exercise activity thermogenesis, or it is also called NEPA, non-exercise physical activity. All are types of non-formal exercise that you do during the day that burns off calories. This could include walking to the mailbox to fetch the mail, sweeping the floor, or washing dishes. Fidgeting or doing these types of typical activities, which could broadly include knitting and crocheting, are all ways to burn off calories without actively involving yourself in training or physical exercise. Sitting, standing, walking. Obviously, our body uses different amounts of energy while sitting, standing, or even walking. Sitting is how most of us knit or crochet, as it is the most comfortable and the easiest to manage our wool and stitches. However, if you feel adventurous, you could burn more calories by standing or even walking. Sitting burns around 20 calories per 15 minutes, which means 80 calories per hour. Standing burns about 22 calories per 15 minutes, which is 88 calories per hour. Walking burns about 33 calories per 15 minutes, which means 132 calories per hour. So standing or walking around while knitting or crocheting may help you burn off more calories. That is, if you value burning calories over comfort. Does knitting burn calories? Yes. Knitting is so therapeutic, with a wonderful end goal of a completed project either for yourself or a loved one. It takes some concentration and skill, keeping count of your stitches, following a pattern, and not missing any stitches. And all of this concentration and movement does result in some calorie burning. If you think about it, why shouldn't it burn calories? Even though you are sitting, you are constantly moving your hands and arms to create and work on stitches back and forth, often for hours at a time, if you're lucky enough to have the time. How many calories does knitting burn? While sitting down knitting for an hour, a 150-pound person can burn 100 to 150 calories. And that's only for an hour. The number of calories burned will obviously increase with any additional time you spend knitting. This actually amounts to around half an hour of light exercise, so don't feel bad about spending some extra time making some wonderfully woolly items and accessories. I love this topic. A whole afternoon of crocheting can burn up to 500 calories, which can have a significant effect on your overall calorie count. I don't know about you, but when I'm crocheting or knitting, I'm not eating. So, and I don't have the desire to go munchy munch. So, right there, I'm saving calories, right? Which motor skills burn calories? Just sitting and staying still can burn 20 calories per 15 minutes, which means in an hour you can burn off 80 calories. Now, if you add knitting to the equation with the movement of the hands and fingers constantly to create stitches, you can add an extra 70 calories burned off. This is quite incredible, as most of us would not think that simple repetitive movements of hands would result in a fairly significant calorie burning. Now, I have read also that if you use a riding mower, to mow your lawn, right there you are burning calories also. Why? Because it's like riding a horse, supposedly. So, how many calories does crochet burn? Crocheting actually burns slightly more calories than knitting. How about that? More calories. In an hour, crocheting can burn up to 173 calories. As mentioned earlier, you can burn off even more standing or walking while crocheting, but this might leave a trail of wool following behind you, which can complicate things slightly. An afternoon of crocheting can burn up to 500 calories. So, which motor skills burn calories? Crocheting requires repetitive movements of the fingers, wrist, and a bit of the arm. The repetitive movement does help strengthen the joints and muscles, but doesn't do much to increase your heart rate. An increase in heart rate does help burn more calories, but as a light, non-tiring exercise, crochet can help burn some of those off. By the way, if you are an avid crocheter but suffer from joint pain, you gotta check out some ergonomic crochet hooks for arthritis, and they do have quite a few. Other benefits of knitting and crocheting. Other than being able to enjoy the wonderful craft and hobby of crocheting and knitting, these two pastimes do have significant health benefits. Calming. Crochet and knitting involve simple repetitive motions that actually help to calm the brain. Not only are you working towards an end goal, but knitting and crocheting will give you something simple to focus on. Stress relief. For those who suffer from stress, crocheting and knitting can be a great stress reliever. It is an opportunity to forget about everything else and just focus on the task at hand. The end result of having a finished project that was made all by you can be a really great reward. Fine motor skills. We always forget those. Crocheting or knitting can also help in developing fine motor skills, as well as keeping fingers and hands strong as you age. In order to be able to knit and crochet when you are older, you need to practice and strengthen while you are young. Sharp mind. Knitting and crocheting often involves some math and following patterns. This helps keep your mind sharp, keep you focused in practicing simple math skills. This also really helps kids who need some extra practice with math and who enjoy knitting or crocheting. It helps them passively practice math skills and keeps them doing a safe and worthwhile hobby. Social. Often knitting and crocheting is done in groups, either as a hobby group or as classes. This is really beneficial for those who lack social contact and can also help combat isolation and loneliness. And of course, nowadays with Zoom, Facebook, you name it, we can do all these kind of things that we've never been able to do before. But Zoom especially, because you're in the company of others, you know? So, even when you're by yourself at your own home. Many residents at retirement homes or old age homes benefit from the interaction found in these knitting and crochet clubs, even if most of it is spent concentrating on an intricate project. It is also a wonderful way to learn new skills and spread your knowledge. Busy hands. For those who want to lose weight, crocheting or knitting is the perfect way to keep your hands busy and off the snacks. By concentrating on the task at hand and enjoying it, you will be less likely to snack on unhealthy foods. As well as burning calories, it is a great way to keep your calorie count down. Calories. As we have covered, a really great benefit of crocheting and knitting is that it burns off more calories than just sitting watching TV. You are working towards a finished project, keeping your hands and mind busy, and creating something great. Now, for an added bonus, here are a few household chores that burn calories. If you aren't a gym person or feel tired just thinking of physical exercise, you can keep up some form of physical activity by doing some chores at home. You might not notice it, but just keeping the house clean and the laundry done does really help burn calories and add to the physical exercise you do daily or weekly. Keeping track of how many calories each household chore burns might motivate you to do them more often. Probably not. Which in turn will leave you with a spotless, laundry-free home. Cleaning the house. Just simply cleaning the house by mopping, dusting, and sweeping can burn off 346 calories per hour. Time to get spring cleaning. Doing laundry. Doing laundry can burn around 230 calories per hour. That is 1,617 calories per week if you do laundry daily. No, I don't. Putting away laundry. So many of us are guilty of doing laundry and then letting it sit around, hoping it puts itself away. But by putting away the laundry, you can burn up to 266 calories per hour. Watching TV. Yes, you might feel like a couch potato lounging in front of the television, but watching a series or movie for an hour can burn 115 calories. Wow, burning calories by crocheting and knitting. Why not start a new project, either knitting or crocheting, and get burning on those calories? Tie it all up with some extra chores at home, and you might not feel guilty about skipping the gym. After all, life is to be enjoyed, and if you can kill two birds with one stone, why not? Now, I love that one, just because it's very interesting. But I also thought I would also tell you about the benefits of crochet and knitting, how it helps the brain. There is a nurse that was a lifelong knitter, and she does this thing where she wants to help serve others by, being in service. But she has a background in neurodevelopmental pediatrics and has experience with working with children and adults with brain injury, spinal cord injury, strokes, and neurological disorders, which led to her to having a big fascination with neuroplasticity and the ability of the brain to rewire itself. And these are her words. Because the practice of knitting crochet is so helpful in dealing with anxiety, the ARC was the first organization she approached, which is, I don't know what it is. It's probably a rehab facility organization, that she approached, and they said they were interested. I was very excited for this opportunity to teach these skills as a tool to quiet the mind, mend the brain, and soothe the soul. My grandmother taught me to crochet when I was about 8 years old, and I could hardly wait to join 4-H knitting. I've been knitting or crocheting ever since. Now I'm exploring ways to combine these interests and abilities to improve the health and well-being of others. And this is written by Betty Houtman, who does a lot of anxiety management with neuropatients. Anyway, she says, Betty Corkhill, Knit for Health and Wellness, How to Knit a Flexible Mind and More, really helped me get started on my mission. I feel it is the best collection of anecdotes and evidence available. Consider these 7 reasons why knitting and crochet can help you with your anxiety. Hand movements. Bilateral, coordinated, precise hand movements are hard work for the brain, and crossing over the midline requires even more brain work. As a result, we are less able to pay attention to other issues and concerns. In other words, knitting distracts the brain. Repetitive motion. Many of us use repetitive rhythmic motion like pacing, rocking, tapping, picking, hair pulling, smoking, drinking, or eating to calm ourselves when we are stressed or traumatized. There are many, many stories of people who have replaced an anxiety crutch with knitting or crochet. Knitters with PTSD report they have fewer flashbacks and other symptoms. Safety bubble. Holding the hands together in front of the body creates a sensation of having a protective bubble of personal space and comfort, and is especially helpful in threatening or anxiety-producing situations. Eye contact is optional. It's totally acceptable in knitting groups to make eye contact only when you choose to. Same thing with conversation, although greeting others upon arrival and saying goodbye when you leave is recommended. Knitting groups are safe places where conversations about knitting often lead to other topics, and choosing whether or not to participate means that you are in control. Portability. Knitting and crochet can go almost anywhere with you. Just tuck it into a pocket, purse, or tote, and a solution is always nearby when symptoms of anxiety and panic arise. Even visualizing the movements and feelings of knitting and crochet can help you in most situations. Any easy, mindless project is best for places with distractions. A new pattern or technique is best for distracting the mind and growing new brain pathways. Sensory. And this is a big, beautiful one. There are so many beautiful colors, an array of textures, and soft, bristly, smooth, or bumpy fibers to choose from. They provide pleasing visual, tactile, and perceptual feedback to our bodies and brains. Hormone level. Did you ever think you could fix some of your hormone levels? More serotonin is released with repetitive movement, which improves mood and sense of calmness. After you've learned knitting or crochet, it can produce blood levels of cortisol, the stress hormone. It can reduce those blood levels. That's amazing. New neural pathways can be created and strengthened by learning new skills and movements. As they become stronger with use, we change our minds to become quieter and more relaxed. The feeling experienced as your mind flows into the movement of knitting or crochet can teach you what it feels like to be relaxed. And you can learn to recall this feeling even if you don't have knitting or crochet in hand. And that is basically it for today's Gone. Hashtag Gone. 50 gone by 2024. So yeah, there's that. Alright guys, see you guys later. Be kind to one another, love one another, and as always, get out there and see some of this big beautiful world. It's absolutely gorgeous. Today, I went out looking at land. Think about purchasing to build a home. And it's beautiful. I'm hoping I can get the land. Anyway, see you guys again soon. Bye.